Hello, Void. How you doing? Phoebe Rizzo here, and as I've made reference, I'm watching through Shudder, and I debated on starting whether or not I wanted to look into their series as well, and I decided, fuck it, why not? I will pick one up while I watch through and do kind of on off and on. And Creepshow caught my eye because I've seen the original Creepshow, and I've seen the sequel to Creepshow. I own both of those films. I'm pretty sure I saw Creepshow 3, but that was a long time ago, and I don't recall that one being particularly memorable. But I digress. I really enjoyed the original run, so I gave the show a shot. And it's enjoyable enough. And now that I'm getting close to completing the third season of it, I'm not going to review that one until I'm sure it's done coming out, which I'm not sure if they're going to do a fourth season yet or not, but on the off chance they do, I'm holding off that review. But I decided that if I'm going to, I should probably try to get underneath it and at least review some of the earlier entries. So, Creepshow, it is. And it's been a long time since I've sat down and watched Creepshow, so it was good to see it again. It's for me, Creepshow's a classic. I watched this one. I had seen segments from it growing up, off and on, and then just when I got my gig at the video store, it's a movie I took out and watched more than once. And actually, it was at the video store that I actually ended up getting my copy of it. As I watched it originally on VHS, way back in the day. Creepshow came out in 1982 and was pretty much the love child of George A. Romero and Stephen King. Those two came together and ended up doing this. King wrote the screenplay, and Romero directed. And they are clearly having fun with this one. It's definitely more of a horror comedy. It's definitely taking inspirations from, like, Tales from the Crypt, where it's horror with a sense of humor, and it's leaning into that comic book theme. And the Tales from the Crypt inspirations are clearly there. So this one's an anthology, as Creepshow tends to be, and this is has, I believe, 4 segments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 segments actually, and they are enjoyable overall. Some of them are definitely stronger than others. I think they kind of open up with the weakest segment, which is Father's Day. It's not bad, but it's sort of just lackluster compared to the other ones. And the makeup effects are only so good, but it isn't bad by any means. It's very well acted, I will say. Father's Day is pretty much about a family reunion on a Father's Day, and one of the people there several years before may or may not have killed her father. And he still wants his Father's Day cake. Second one actually stars Stephen King in the title role of in The Lonesome Death of Jordy Verrill, where this one seems to be to have taken a lot of inspirations from the story The Color Out of Space, rather than the meteorite causing things to leaching things in. It's making them grow, so it's kind of like reverse Color Out of Space. And Stephen King plays pretty much a hapless nitwit who finds the meteor and, well, decides, hey, maybe I can sell this, but he's quickly overrun by this growth. And this one's gotta be probably the funniest of the segments. King's acting is hilarious. He's trying to be silly, and this one does have the best humor, I think, out of all 4 of the segments. All 5 of the segments. Next is Something to Tide You Over, which stars Leslie Nielsen in a very against type role as a sadistic millionaire who has found his wife cheating on him and decides to punish both of them by leaving them out for the tides. It's gotta be one of the better acted segments, and Leslie Nielsen's clearly having a blast playing the villain. The Crate is my favorite segment, which involves a janitor at a university finding a crate under some stairs from an Arctic expedition decades ago, but the specimen inside is still alive and is very hungry. This one has the best effects and is definitely the bloodiest of the segments. And it's a classic little monster movie, and that's my sweet spot. And finally, it finishes up with They're Creeping Up on You, which is about I think he's real estate, I'm not sure, but a rich businessman who's out to crush the competition as he just views them as bugs. He's also a germaphobe and does everything to keep bugs out of his apartment. And, well, they're creeping up on him, and he's getting his comeuppance in the form of roaches. So, the movie's not, like, a masterpiece, but it's having fun with itself, and it's easy to get swept up in the atmosphere. The music is also very good, and there's a very minor wraparound segment of a kid getting yelled at by his father. Kid actually played by a very young Joe Hill, the actual son of Stephen King. Well, about getting his comic book thrown away, and then, well, he sees the Creep, the mascot for Creepshow, outside his window, and then it goes into sort of an animated segment where it goes over to the comic book, pages flip, and then the stories start, well, playing out. So there's a lot of little guest appearances, like Tom Savini, who does the special effects and the makeup in this, has a small role as a garbage man, and the cast is really A-list. This is a very well put together film. I'm not going to put it in like masterpiece category because it's not scary by any means. It could be a little creepy now and again, particularly in the crate segment, but it's more of just having fun with some scary stories for like a sleepover sort of thing, just an R-rated sleepover. So it's easy to get caught up in it. For me, this one's a good 7 MacGuffins. The segments that work really work, and even the ones that aren't as engaging, they're not long, and there's at least something in them that keeps your attention. So I do highly recommend Creepshow. It's not an all-time favorite of mine, but it's a comfort horror film. It's one that's easy to put on, just pass a quick 2 hours and just be satisfied. And it's a satisfying movie. That's really the heart of it, and I do recommend Creepshow. Alright, I'll probably get around to reviewing Creepshow 2, which from memory wasn't as strong as an entry, but there was one segment on it that did always stick with me, and that definitely makes returning to Creepshow 2 worthwhile. Don't know when I'll get to that. Maybe sometime soon. I'm kind of doing it as a crapshoot. But I think that's about all on Creepshow, but yeah. If you haven't seen the original, it's worth checking out. The effects are definitely a little dated nowadays, but it's not trying to be a masterpiece. It's there to have a good time. And if you're willing to have a good time, you'll enjoy it. Alright, Void. See you next time, and hopefully soon.